All right, hello everybody. Dan Lyons at the National Weather Service again for the weekly briefing. We're going to be covering the period Monday, July 15th today through Sunday, July 21st. We got a lot to talk about again, so let's just jump right into it. But I guess before we get too far into things, let's talk about some changes to the forecast that we've just done here within the last 45 minutes or an hour or so. Just passing along a note here that we've upgraded a portion of our heat advisory to an excessive heat warning. What you see on the screen there is the areas in orange. That's where we had the heat advisory, and that is still in effect. But if you are in Wake County and then south and east of there, you are in an excessive heat warning for the rest of today. That'll go until about 8 o'clock tonight. At this point, at this stage of the game, we only have heat advisory and excessive heat warnings out for today. We are closely looking at things to see where we think we might need some heat products for tomorrow. So even though we don't have anything out quite yet, I would not be surprised in the least at some point later this afternoon if you see another round of heat advisories and potentially heat warnings coming out for tomorrow as we stay in a pretty hot pattern. So let's talk about that pattern that we're going to be in. So for today, pretty much hot, humid. What you see is what you get. Pretty similar to what we had yesterday. We will have a few very isolated showers and thunderstorms develop later this afternoon, mainly south of the triangle, kind of the sandhills and southern coastal plain. And you can see those areas highlighted in green on the map in the upper left. Pretty much rinse and repeat every day through Wednesday with some isolated, very scattered afternoon showers, thunderstorms. Really nothing to write home about, nothing that's going to be severe. I'll talk about that in a few minutes here as well. However, we will have a cold front approach the area, slowly move through, and then stall out across North Carolina later in the week, with Thursday and Friday looking to be potentially wet days, not too dissimilar to what we had just a couple days ago. So we're kind of in this pattern, or we're going to get into another wet pattern here as we close out the week, and it looks like that's going to persist through the weekend through Sunday as well. We'll cover the finer details of that here in a few minutes. I did want to touch briefly on the severe weather potential. Even though we are expecting some isolated or widely scattered showers and thunderstorms during the afternoon, we're not expecting any severe weather with that. That's why you don't see any sort of outlooks on the screen other than that real light shade of green, just indicating some average afternoon showers and thunderstorms. No risk of severe weather really at any point during the next 8 days, and certainly nothing over the next 3 days. So let's talk about the rainfall. We said it's going to rain later in the week. If you look at the first 3 days here, today, tomorrow, very light shades of green indicating just not a whole lot of precipitation. If you happen to get under one of the storms that forms today, you may see a decent amount of rain, maybe a quick half an inch or an inch or so, but it's going to be really spotty. Again, not expecting any severe weather with any of this sort of stuff today or tomorrow. By the time we get to Wednesday, you start to see some darker shades of green, maybe some shades of blue, depending on where you're tuning in from. The potential for more widespread rain really ramps up when we get to Thursday and Friday, though. That's when we start to see some widespread areas of blues and purples and colors like that, indicating anywhere from 1 to maybe even 2 to 2.5 inches of rainfall, depending on where you're at. And if you sum total all of that up over the course of the next 5 days, you see the map that's in the lower right-hand corner with the oranges indicating anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe even locally 5 inches of rain, depending on where you might be at. So definitely a pattern shift is in store, with today and tomorrow and kind of Wednesday being your average run-of-the-mill thunderstorms, and then really turning things up by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, as that front moves through and then stalls out across the area. Normally we show this graphic here where we have excessive rainfall outlooks and the forecast for flooding over the next 3 days. Well, really, there's no threat of flooding over the next 3 days with these average afternoon showers and thunderstorms. But I did want to look at Thursday, Friday, though, because these outlooks exist for the next 5 days. And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't at least show these graphics, because these really tell the story. Thursday and Friday are the days where we're really concerned about rainfall across the area. And the Weather Prediction Center has highlighted the areas in yellow, especially in an area of what they call a slight risk for excessive rainfall, which means that there could be some flash flooding in the areas that you see outlined in yellow, especially during the day Thursday. That's pretty similar to the outlook that we had in place with our showers and thunderstorms that we just had a couple days ago. Not saying it's going to be an exact repeat or a carbon copy of that event, but this is now 2 weeks or 2 events in a row affecting the same areas. So if you had flooding a couple days ago, you may want to pay particular attention to the forecast as we get closer to Thursday, as we can start to pin down some of the details of where some of the heavier rain may actually occur. And then Friday, as that front stalls out across the area, there'll still be some rain. Perhaps the flooding potential may not be as high, though. We'll still have some rain. Maybe the rainfall rates won't quite be as intense as what we may see on Thursday. Let's take a look at the tropics. When I did the briefing a couple days ago, it did not look like there was going to be anything active out in the tropics for the next week. And that trend continues today. Still not looking at anything active in the tropics for the next week. So certainly a departure from what we had a couple days ago, where there was quite a bit of activity going on in the tropics. That's not going to be the case this week. Let's take a look at the long range outlook here. Looking at the Climate Prediction Center 8 to 14 day outlooks. With this pattern change that I was referring to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what that's going to do is that's actually going to bring some cooler air into the area. Okay, so our hot temperatures that we're experiencing today will be replaced with temperatures that are around normal, maybe even a little bit below normal, believe it or not. Mid to upper 80s is technically below normal. But anyway, it looks like that pattern of near normal temperatures is going to continue into next week. So there's no, bottom line, that graphic on the left, there's no clear signal here saying that we're going to have above, below, or any extreme temperatures. It actually looks like it's going to be kind of a normal week next week temperature wise. And the normal highs and lows are on the bottom of the slide just for your reference. However, precipitation wise, part of the reason that we're going to see around normal temperatures is because we're going to see daily afternoon showers and thunderstorms each day. And maybe a little bit more coverage than average. Okay, so that's why the odds are tilted slightly in favor of above normal precipitation next week. Let's close things out here looking at the next 7 days worth of hazards. The only real things that stand out here would be the excessive heat, of course, to start today, tomorrow, and continuing into Wednesday. We are looking at some extremely hot temperatures. That's why we have the excessive heat warning out. And that's why I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we have some sort of heat products come out for Tuesday and even Wednesday for that matter. But then you can see the excessive heat risk levels, they start to trail off a little bit as we get toward the latter part of the week into the weekend. That's also around the time when our excessive rainfall potential really starts to increase, especially on Thursday. That's the day that we saw that slight risk for excessive rainfall across the area. And then I, again, would be remiss if I didn't at least mention the threat of lightning in there. Yes, we're going to have some widely scattered showers today, tomorrow, but they will increase in coverage by the time we get to Wednesday, Thursday, and then even into the first part of the weekend. All right, so let's bring it home here. Let's summarize what's going on. It's going to be dangerously hot and humid today. Of course, we have the heat advisory and excessive heat warnings out. Depending on where you're at, that will be in effect until 8 p.m. tonight. Again, don't be surprised in the least if you see those re-upped for portions of the area tomorrow. Pretty much run-of-the-mill afternoon showers and thunderstorms today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Definitely becoming more numerous by the time we get to Thursday as the front approaches the area and then stalls out right overhead. And then that wet period will continue Friday through the weekend with cooler temperatures. And you can see that last forecast graphic on there, that Friday high temperature of 82, certainly a drastic departure from the 102 that we're going to be experiencing today. And of course, hazards impacts, dangerously hot temperatures, certainly if you don't have access to adequate cooling, could be an issue for some folks. And we will be replacing the temperature hazards with rainfall and flooding related hazards late in the week especially in low-lying, normally flood-prone areas due to that rainfall that we're expecting.